Hi guys, welcome to my channel. I'm Kira D, Naturalista. And today I'm starting part 1 of a series on 6 keys for winning at life. And who doesn't want to be #winning, right? Whenever we think about #winning, whenever we see that posted on any kind of social media platform, it always depicts somebody who is enjoying their life, who is living out life to their fullest, who feels like they're accomplishing their goals and feels like their life is meaningful, and so they're #winning at life. So how do we get there? How do we really live a life that brings us joy? How do we live a life that is meaningful? How do we live a life that it's not just about existing, drifting through life or enduring life, but we're actually enjoying it because, just living out our purpose, just living out, our dreams, our hopes, our aspirations brings us that fulfillment that we're looking for from the life that we're living. And so I shared this message a few weeks ago, and I was challenged by Motivate 268 to share it on a platform where I am able to share it with persons beyond my physical sphere of influence. This particular series is based on the whole concept of life as a race and running it. And the foundational scripture for the entire series is 1 Corinthians 9:24 to 27. 1 Corinthians 9:24 to 27. And it reads thus: "Do you not know that in a race all the runners run, but only one gets the prize? Run in such a way to get the prize. Everyone who competes in the games goes into strict training. They do this to get a crown that will not last, but we do it to get a crown that will last forever. Therefore, I do not run like somebody running aimlessly. I do not fight like a boxer, beating the air. No, I strike a blow to my body and make it my slave, so that after I preach to others, I myself will not be disqualified from the prize." This scripture was Paul speaking to the Corinthian church, and he was generally speaking to them about living their life in such a way where they are really living out the freedom that Christ died to give them. But even in living out the freedom, living in such a way that you consider that you're living with others as well. And towards the end of that is where this discourse comes in, where he likens life to running a race. The first key to winning at life is complete dependence on God. Let me say that again. The first key to winning at life is complete dependence on God. Why? Why is that necessary? So Ecclesiastes 9:11. Solomon, the author of Ecclesiastes, who is considered to be one of the wisest men who has ever lived, he says in Ecclesiastes 9:11, "I returned and saw under the sun that the race is not for the swift, nor the battle for the strong, neither yet bread to the wise, nor yet riches to men of understanding, nor yet favor to men of skill, but time and chance happeneth to them all." What was Solomon saying? Ecclesiastes is saying to us that it's not our personal skill, it's not our merit, it's not our swiftness, it's not necessarily our own capabilities that would help us in the race of life. And so he listed several things. He said it's not about the people who are fast, it's not about people who are strong, it's not about people who consider themselves to be wise and rich and skilled. And all those sound like good things to me. To be fast, to be strong, to be skilled, to be rich, to be wise. All those sound like good things to me. But he says, as I sat back and I observed life, I noticed that these things are not what help them in the race of life. Why is that? He says because time and circumstance happens to all of them. Everybody in those categories: the rich, the strong, the fast, the wise, the skilled. Time and circumstance happens to all of them, and this pandemic that we're in has taught us that wealth is fragile. Skills don't mean everything. Being fast, there's some people who are, shot up in their goals and, accomplishing things. All those things can be wiped out under the right circumstance. How many people who have had fat bank accounts and one sickness, one illness, a diagnosis of cancer or something else could completely wipe out a bank account and take you from a place of financial security to not knowing what the future holds. I've seen people who are strong and fit and healthy, they eat well, and just having a stroke or a heart attack could reduce people who are at the epitome of health to struggling physically. So it's more than just these things. It's more than just strength and money and all of this. Because circumstances can really mess us up. And so that's why it's so important to completely depend on God, because God is not as fragile as our economy. God is not, his value does not diminish with the stock market. He even in the midst of challenging times, God does not shift like sand. And so it's important, if you are seeking to win at life, that you understand that it's not just about skill, it's not just about money, but complete dependence on God is absolutely necessary. And Solomon says it's not only about circumstance, sometimes it's about time, because he says time and circumstance happens to all of them. So, a lot of times it's not even just like big dramatic things that would just, bring us down. Sometimes it's small things happening, time after time. Every time we look, it's another problem. Every time we look, it's another situation. And then, one day we just can't take it anymore. One day we've hit rock bottom because it just seems like we just can't get a break. And so that one last thing caught us at a time in our lives when we're really vulnerable. Or just the passage of time and things that happen as time goes by. But I want to challenge us today to completely depend on God. Not only because our skills and our innate abilities and so on are not enough. They're all good, but they're not enough. But also because God is completely dependable. We can completely depend on him because he is a completely dependable God. When strength and skill fail, God does not. When our willpower fades away, God does not. And just keeping in mind and just imagining that for every goal, every dream, every challenge, every situation that we encounter, there is somebody there who is running alongside the journey of life, the race of life, refreshing us, cheering us on as we go, handing us a bottle of water when we need it, helping us to that pit stop when we need to take a rest before we get up and carry on. And it's like God is like that support system who is with us through every single area of life. And I'm sure we have all had encounters where, as we go through life, we have persons who are with us in perhaps maybe the good times, but when things get rough, they're nowhere to be found. And sometimes there are people there who are there with us in the roughest of times. But then, the moment when things start to, get better and we start to get stronger, where we can stand on our own feet and then we're not so dependent upon them, people get offended and they leave because we're ungrateful. And, I'm just saying that we have all had experiences where people leave us, people come and go. But we can completely depend on God because He is completely dependable. And that's why David said in Psalms that I will not lean on my own understanding, but in all of my ways I will acknowledge Him, because He has the ability to bring everything to pass. And when I don't understand things, when I don't know what's happening, God is always there. I just wanted to lay the foundation before I moved on to the other 5 keys of winning at life. With it all rests. The foundation has to be secure. It all has to rest upon complete dependence on God. Because as great as skill and strength and money and all those things are not always enough. But God is more than enough. You and God are more than enough. God and I are more than enough for us to have a fulfilling and complete life. Thanks for watching. I hope you're encouraged. I hope you're blessed. And I will see you in the next one.